we've got an up-and-coming MMA fighter out of the Treasure Valley joining us on the show today, and he's going to discuss his journey on how he got here and where he intends on going. And don't miss it because we need to get him some exposure for a major promotion coming up. This is the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time! Woo!
What is going on, everybody? I appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the Gametime Guru podcast. It's episode 73. Once again, I'm your host, Shane Larson, and we've got an awesome guest yet again on the show to share their journey with us in the sports world. And this one's a really interesting one, so I'm excited for him to share his journey with us. Before we get started with the interview, however, I want to remind you to sign up for my newsletter, the Gametime Guru Newsletter. It can be found in the links. Make sure you're following me on social media. You can see the link here for the newsletter if you don't already have it. But the reason I'm saying that is so that you can follow the journey even more in depth, because I'm going to be doing giveaways for merchandise that's going to be coming out soon. We've been working on a few things, a buddy of mine and I, in regards to that. Also, there's going to be some information on some stuff we've got coming up in the very near future for the show, some cool projects that I've been working on, and I'm in the works. It's in the works, I should say. I'm working on getting those projects finished, so I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy those. Joining me today, however, like I said in the introduction, we're going to jump right into this interview. It's an up-and-coming fighter out of the Treasure Valley. For those of you who don't know what the Treasure Valley is, I say it all the time, but I thought I might explain it finally for you guys. The Treasure Valley are just the surrounding cities, and the capital city of Boise is just, we have quite a few cities in this area. It's the Boise Valley here in Idaho. So if you're listening from out of state or out of the country, Boise is the capital of Idaho, and the Treasure Valley are just Boise and the surrounding areas. So we have an up-and-coming MMA fighter joining us today. It's Kyle Aslami. But Kyle, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of where you're from, sir?
Yeah, so currently I live in Boise, Idaho. I do MMA, and I'm originally from Afghanistan. That's where I'm from, and I was born in Ukraine.
Man, okay, so I'm going to ask the question that everybody's thinking. What took you from Afghanistan over to the United States?
Just family and then school better over here for my brother and for me, obviously, and there's more opportunities out here, and the war out there was way too crazy for us to live out there.
For sure, man. I can only imagine. So you guys basically came here for an opportunity at a better life. How long have you been living in the States?
I've been here for almost 11 years now. Okay,
11 years. Awesome. So I'm excited to get to know your journey then, because you came from, a different location, and you're here in the States. And obviously we're going to talk about MMA and your journey in MMA. And a lot of my listeners love this discussion, the mixed martial arts, the fighters that have been on here before. We've got a lot of great reactions out of those interviews. So in regards to your MMA career, Kyle, are you still an amateur or are you a pro?
Yes. So right now I'm an amateur. I've had 6 fights scheduled. I've only fought twice. 4 of them fell off. And yeah, I don't know why people pull out of me the last very second, but I guess got bad luck.
I mean, bad luck is just part of the game when it comes to fighting. I actually had to go through something similar when it came to my boxing days. When I was 15 years old and I just started boxing, I was 3 months in, I was going to have a fight, and I was going to fight a guy from Pocatello, which is about 3 hours away from Boise, and the guy pulled out, so I had to go into weigh-ins and everything that morning, and I was nervous and everything like that. Got ready for the fight that whole entire 2 weeks, and then it didn't happen. But in regards to your fights, Kyle, I've looked at the 2 fights that you had here, and you landed a left hook and ended the fight that way in one of them. And the other one you won by a decision. In both of those that I was watching the film for on YouTube, I was checking it out, and one of the things that stands out to me is your footwork. So I wanted to have you, the expert it seems, because you have amazing footwork. I want you to actually, educate the listeners on the importance of footwork in fighting.
Man, footwork is so important in this game. Everything's important, but footwork to me is the number one key for everything, for movement, not getting hit, landing stuff, juking them out, everything. So what I do, where I learned this stuff is Matt Jones. I don't know if you know him.
Of course I know Matt Jones, man. He was a great interview. He joined the show. Awesome interview. So what have you learned from him?
Yeah, so what I learned from him, since Matt Jones goes out to Colorado and trains with Dwayne Ludwig and TJ Dillashaw out there, he brings that stuff back to our gym, and we have like a little group that he teaches it to, and I'm in that group, and we like get one-on-one usually a lot. And he teaches me all the footwork and literally like everything that I did in that fight, TJ Dillashaw does. If you put them together, he does that stuff. So Matt Jones helped me a lot out with this camp, or like since I started training, he's helped me out. And then like it changes the game. Like it's another level of what the footwork you do with Matt Jones and TJ Dillashaw doing middleweight out there.
Man, I can tell you this right now, and I'm not just saying it because I'm interviewing you. When I watch the film, and anybody that's listening, y'all can do the same thing. Go watch it. I saw a little bit of Matt Jones in you. That's crazy in a strange sense. You know, I could see that because your footwork was on point. People don't realize that in fighting, right? Like it's a big deal. If you can control the angles in an octagon, it's a little bit different than in a square ring for boxing, but it's similar in the sense that you have to, control it with the angles that you're taking. The subtle foot movements that you make that cut off an angle make all the difference at the end of the fight, because you work less and the other person's working harder, and over time they're going to get fatigued. What do you think is your strongest point, Kyle, as a fighter? What's your strongest point to your fighting game?
My strongest point, like my favorite is stand-up. I just like standing up. I mean, I wrestled for high school too. In junior high, I can wrestle. I got ground game. I can do that, but just my favorite is stand-up. Boxing is my favorite. Well, you can call it Bang Muay Thai, since that's what I've been like learning from that.
Okay, yeah, the Muay Thai game. All right, so awesome. Did you have any striking experience before this, though? You wrestled, but did you have any striking experience?
Yeah, no, not at all. I didn't do nothing. I did like a week or two of Taekwondo, it was for like a little school thingy, but that's about it.
Man, it's impressive, though. It's impressive that you're able to strike so well, because in your fight, you landed that left hook, the one that you ended him with, and you caught him. You caught him good, man. So it looks like you've been striking for quite a while. That's why I asked that question to begin with. What's your ultimate goal, Kyle? Are you looking to become a professional fighter?
Yeah, that's like the goal right now. I'm 2-0 right now. I'm doing good. I'm heading the right way. I'm training with the right gym, right coaches, and everything I got, right training partners. So yeah, it'll be there really soon. A couple more fights, I'll be a pro, and see what happens next from that. The goal is the UFC, like everyone else.
Right on. And in regards to the UFC, did you catch the fights that came to Boise just a few weeks back?
No, I actually couldn't go to that. I had work. I couldn't get that day off, so I couldn't go. But I was watching it live on my phone.
Right on. I didn't get to go either, so that's totally understandable. But I was going to ask you, Kyle, because the fights were here, and anytime that you get like these high-profile fighters and you get to see them, you get to see what it takes to actually compete at that level. And I kind of wanted to get your take on this, because as a basketball player myself, I understand when you get to a higher level, even the collegiate level, and then obviously to the pros, there's a lot of skill and a lot of athleticism that it requires to compete and compete well at that level. So for you, with those fighters and knowing what it takes to get there in the UFC or whatever professional card it may be, what are you doing right now, and how do you intend on separating yourself from the competition? Because it seems like there's a lot of fighters that want to go pro, but how are you going to separate yourself from the rest of the competition?
Yeah, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing right now. It's obviously working out for me, and just stay loyal to the gym that I'm at. They've helped me out so much. I've been training since I was 16. I've been almost 5 years now, and yeah, that's why I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And the Bang Muay Thai that I've been doing, I'm going to keep doing that, keep adding. And Matt Jones told me actually that I can go down to Colorado with him and train out there in the gym, see what it's like to train with like professional people, the UFC fighters out there. He said it's different, it's way different. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. It's working. That's why everyone keeps telling me, just keep going at it, keep doing what you're doing, and don't turn around. Just keep going straight off ahead.
Right on. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. That's what I've always said. I've lived by that as well. So I get it. Do you have any fights coming up soon, Kyle? Like anything scheduled at the moment?
Nothing scheduled yet. So Bellator is coming down to Boise in September. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I did hear about it. I just don't know all the details on it. Are they going to have an undercard section where you can fight in, or a potential spot for you?
Yeah, so they're going to have undercard, and the promoter for Front Street Fight is setting up the undercard. And I just put my name out there. My coach Jesse Brock told me that they're coming down, and I might have an opportunity to fight for them. See what happens. Hopefully I get on that card. It'll be a pleasure to be on that card.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's a huge opportunity. Bellator is huge. What can we do as listeners to help you get onto that card, or at least get the name out there and get that exposure?
Promotional. Just go on their Instagram. I don't know. Go to Todd Carlson's post. Do you know who Todd Carlson is?
Yeah, I know Todd Carlton. I follow him pretty well.
You can go to him. Just throw my name out there. Everyone, whoever just throws my name out there will help a lot. He'll see that I got a good fan base out there for me to wanting to fight on that card, and that I'll bring a good fight on. But we'll see. Hopefully, I get on that card.
Yeah, man, that's a huge thing. Like, that's a big time move because there's a lot of mixed opinions on Bellator as an organization, but honestly, the fact that they're able still to be on their own and compete with the UFC in regards to their fighters is a pretty big deal. They've still got some really high profile fighters, some great fighters in Bellator, so that'd be huge opportunity for you. So we'll do what we can to help you out, man.
Yes, it would help me out a lot if I got on that. My coach, and she's my training partner. She just fought at Bellator, Vida Ortega.
Oh yeah, man, I know who that is.
Yeah, so she cornered me, and she cornered me in my last 2 fights. She's helped me out a lot, and she just won her last fight in decision. She beat a former challenger for the belt and dominated her every single round. She looked really good, so hopefully she gets on that card too. That's what people are saying. They want to see her in the September card in Boise.
Sweet, man. I'm going to have to be rooting for both of you then to get on that card because that's exciting. I just love seeing the growth of the sport in the Treasure Valley because I was into boxing all through my high school days. I never got into the MMA scene, though. I never transitioned over to MMA. I stopped fighting, when I was 18, and that was that. But it's cool to see the growth. Like I said, I've had Matt Jones on the show before. Huge guest. It was awesome. Like, he was such a good guest. And then I had Brendan Raftery, who started fighting in the Treasure Valley. He's now out of San Diego and training down there. But it's just cool to see these fighters. And then now yourself, these up-and-comers that are putting in work. And the growth of the sport is just awesome. We have some great fighters here in the Treasure Valley. So now I want to ask you, though, Kyle, and I think the listeners would love to know as well, when it comes to preparing for a fight, like, I want to know what you go through as far as like preparation, like your music that you listen to, getting up to the fight, getting to weigh-ins, then the day of the fight itself. Like, what do you do to prepare, and how is that whole process for you?
Yeah, so the day before the fight is obviously the weigh-ins, and that's like, the weight cut isn't really that bad. I don't cut that much. I'm not a heavy 25er, but that's the easiest part for me. I just go in the gym, like, talk to my coaches, see what they tell me, what they want me to do, because they've obviously, know more than me. And I listen to them. I go in there, hit pads in, the room that we have. That it's, literally like a sauna, and it's hot. And I just cure up, just listen to music, calm, ready. And then after I get the weigh-ins, I just go there, just literally don't even think about anything, and I weigh in. Every time I make weight, even when I didn't fight, 4 fights that got canceled, I've made weight, but some of my opponents haven't made weight. So I'm professional about this sport. And yeah. And after that, I just go into my therapy because I hurt my knee a couple years back, and I got surgery on that. So I go therapy for that. And then just for strength and conditioning, they tape me up. The athlete's tape, they put on my shoulder. Like you saw my last fight, I had that on my shoulder.
Yep.
And then they do that, and I just relax there. Come home, get a good meal in, because obviously you got to be ready for the fight the next day. So I get a good meal in, and then I wake up, and that's the fight night. That's where I'm just focused on nothing but the fight. So my last fight, I just chilled playing Fortnite the whole time before the fight. And then I just go in there, and then in the back room, literally, nothing's going through your head except the fight. You're just focused, hitting pads, warming up. And you make the walkout. That's the best part. You pick your own song, you walk out to it, the crowd loves it, and everything just gets hyped from there. You go in the cage and just throw it all out there and show the world what you got.
For sure. And what about your music? Do you listen to anything, have a specific song that you listen to, or anything to get you hyped up or relaxed for that matter?
Oh, my playlist? So I know a lot of people don't like this rapper, but I love Drake. He's my favorite rapper. I listen to him all the time. My first fight, I walked out to Trophies by Drake. And then, so I was listening to a song, and Matt Jones comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, what are you listening to?" I'm like, "I'm listening to music." He's like, "Nah." And he's like, "Yeah, hey, turn that shit off. Put this." And he gave me his phone, and he played this. It was his motivational speech. That's what he said. You listen to these 4 fights. And he put down my ear and said, "Listen to this, and I'll get you ready." I'm like, all right. And I listen to it, and it changes. It's different than music, because music is you just getting hyped, listening to the beat, the rapper, singing and stuff. But this is just a motivational speech telling you on how to, it was how to be great and how to go for what you want. So I was just listening to that. But usually I just listen to rap.
You know, it's just so funny, the stories about the different, what people do to get hyped up and the music you listen to. I told Matt Jones during our interview that for real, for me, like I've been known to, get pumped up by listening to rap and some good, like back in the basketball days, it was Lil Jon, the East Side Boys, like we listened to some good stuff in the locker room. But when it came to boxing, it was a whole different preparation for me. I listened to Michael Jackson and the song off of Free Willy. I would listen to that on repeat to calm myself because when we were getting ready for fights, we'd be in the locker rooms and then we're out getting warmed up and stuff. And it just helped me settle my nerves rather than, getting all psyched out. And then, in the fighting game, you can't let your adrenaline just fly through all of a sudden and then be burnt out within the first round because then you'll be toast. So that's what I had to do. So that's why I was interested in hearing your selection. Now, I do have a question for you, Kyle. Where can we find you? Like, do you have a social media outlet that we can, follow so that we can keep an eye on your journey going forward?
Yeah, so my main thing right now is Instagram. I post on there a lot, as you guys can see. It's Kyle Aslami, literally no space, no underscore. Just type in Kyle Aslami and I'll come up. That's where I post a lot, notifications and everything. I have a Facebook too. I'm kind of on that, but I'm more towards on the Instagram side. It's more easier for me. And then YouTube channel, yeah, I make YouTube videos too. The channel is called Supreme Crew. I post fight highlights and challenges and what YouTubers do, just random stuff.
For sure. So now you guys know where to find them. Go check it out. We'll post the links here below for your social media pages for Instagram and as well as YouTube and such so that they can go check you out. That's the best thing about this podcast is, we get to build relationships with other people, and then myself as well as the listeners can, keep an eye on you during your journey and follow you through the whole process. It's awesome. What I want you to tell us though, Kyle, what can we expect from you? I want you to tell us here in the Treasure Valley and everybody listening around the world, what can we expect from Kyle Aslami in the next 5 years?
There's going to be some big moves that are going to come up. I know I'm going to make it big. It just takes time, I know I'm going to get there one day. And once I get there, all the haters are going to eat their words. All the haters. I'm just going to keep training and do what I do. I want my fan base to grow, my supporters to be there for me from the day one. And once I get there, I'm not going to forget anyone. I'm going to give back. The most important, I'm going to give back to my family. That's what I'm want to do really bad. But we'll see what happens.
For sure. And Kyle, I appreciate you joining the show and sharing your story with us. It's an awesome journey from Afghanistan all the way to the States, and now you're making your name in the MMA industry. So we're rooting for you, and I appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on the show. It means a lot.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Kyle. For all the listeners out there, make sure that you're showing the support for Kyle. I'm going to do it, so I encourage you guys to do it as well. That's our responsibility as sports fans and people who listen to this show. That's what we want to do is we want to support our guests through their journey. His is not over. His is just getting started. So if you enjoyed, his story and you're rooting for him just like I am, make sure you are going to share this post. We want to share this out there. See if we can get him on the Bellator, undercard so that we can get him out there and get the exposure that he deserves. He's put in the work, and I expect big things out of Kyle Aslami moving forward. For all you guys out there, make sure you also subscribe to my newsletter. Like I said earlier, subscribe to that so you can get, be part of the giveaways. You can meet the guests and just basically get to know the show and myself and, all the stuff that's going on. Get to have a little bit more in-depth, viewpoint of it all. So make sure to do that, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.